Whenever you're ready.
What's that?
Whenever you're ready.
All right, well, too many times these days in professional sports, you hear about that player who's like holding out for money, or money complications. Just players who aren't really good role models for the fans that are watching them. They're almost a whole different species. We can't relate, can't really understand anything what it's like to be them, because they make all this money, they have all these friends and everyone who loves them, but they're not happy. They don't seem to have everything they want. But who I did my report over, or my biography over, is someone who's very much the opposite. John Elway, I believe, is very much the poster child for success on and off the football field. And very, very long professional career. Never had any problems with his coaches. Never had any scandals. Never had any Brett Favre picture. Never had any of that. And he's just, from the beginning, ever since he was a high schooler to where he started his professional career, he's really just been a great role model for anyone either just interested in sports or trying to follow them. At first, the thing that kept my attention about John Elway is he's not your typical, stereotypical dumb jock QB. Whenever he was in high school, he was one of the top-rated athletes in the nation, and he got drafted to the Kansas City Royals, and also got many College 1 and D1 offers for football. The Kansas City Royals, if you don't know, is a baseball team. So that's two sports that he got offered lots of money in as an 18-year-old kid. So you, 18 years old, you get offered millions of dollars to go hit a ball into a field. Or you can go to an Ivy League school and do tons of work like Stanford for 4 years. Which would you choose? Because he chose Stanford. After he continuously set multiple records at Stanford, such as most NCAA attempts, most NCAA completions, most NCAA fourth quarter comebacks. After he set all those records in NCAA, he decided he wanted to be a professional football player. He had another decision to make, though, because at this point in time, 4 years after Stanford, the Yankees wanted him also. So he decided to go play football. At that point in time, 1983, he was the first overall draft pick, which is pretty hard to do. He got drafted by the Baltimore Colts, and if that sounds funny, it's because it is, because they don't exist anymore. He refused to play for the Colts because it's not proven, but there's a story that there was a lot of shadiness going on in the Baltimore Colts society, and John Elway is just too good for that. So he didn't want anything to do with it, but that's not proven. So he decided to go to the Denver Broncos, and had a kind of a slow start to the Denver Broncos. Didn't have the most prolific first couple of years, but eventually the records started pouring on. One of the most interesting things about John Elway is he stayed with the Broncos for his entire 15-year professional career after he ignored the Baltimore Colts. And he didn't win his first Super Bowl until his 14th year. Then he won a second Super Bowl his 15th year, which is pretty interesting. He has the most Super Bowl starts as a professional quarterback still to this day, 5. The only problem is he bombed and has 2 of the worst Super Bowl losses in the NFL history in his first 2. As today, he still holds all types of records, although Brett Favre has passed most of them, because most of the records that he held were for long quarterbacks who played for a long time, and just records that you're bound to break if you play for 15 years. Something that he did off the football field that I think is interesting is he cemented himself as part of his town and organization. Where you see like basketball or these players who are just like livestock, no offense, they just bounce from town to town to town. They don't care, they don't have any loyalty to the fans. Well, he stayed in Denver for 15 years. After that, he became the executive vice president of football operations for the Broncos. And after that, he created a charity in his name in Denver for abused children. So basically everything about John Elway is a positive. He's a poster child for success on the field with all his records, and off the field for lots of positive examples set for other people with maybe his type of capital that should do the same thing.